So, folks, there is a podcast called Nelk Boys, and it is a show about two, as far as I can tell, two moron dipshits who spend their time talking with sportsmen.
I have heard about the Milk Boys from my lobster daughter.
Not only can you take a load, you can take the ultimate load.
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. So the Nelk Boys are dumbasses. They're morons. They're simpletons. However, they tend to, how do I put this? They tend to dilly-dally in the world of professional sportsmen who are conservative. They're really into UFC and fighting sports, and there's a big overlap between that and conservative media.
I use fancy button to say peanut butter, and I got to focus on work. Love y'all, Chat and Jack. Bye.
Bye, Caracal. Thank you for being a member for the last 8 months. Appreciate it. Yes, this is the Full Send podcast. We're going to be talking about that. Here is the intro to this, to kind of get you started, get you a feel for what the show's all about.
Before we get into it, if you guys have not tried out the Prize Picks app, you guys gotta try it out.
So, you kind of get the idea, right? Like, you kind of get the idea. You've got, dumb asses interviewing, wrestlers, people drinking out of shoes. You got, hey, have you considered sports gambling before? You've got, hey, you know what? Let party with us. We're just dipshits who don't know anything. It's kind of that type of content that appeals to a certain kind of person that isn't me, right? But they're people who are known for just being fun dudes you want to hang out with. So let's jump ahead here to where this episode begins. You guys know- we'll skip the we'll skip the sports betting thing. This podcast was filmed on July 8th, 2025. Any events that occurred afterward will obviously not be covered.
This is fucking nuts.
This is so crazy. We are so not qualified to do this. That's what's interesting about this. We're just not. We just should not be doing this.
Well, we're too far too gone.
Here we have the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. He's about to walk into the podcast right now. This is probably one of the most, if not the most controversial podcast we
for sure the most
have ever done.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe not the most controversial we'll ever do.
Maybe not,
but
maybe though.
I mean, this issue is just and by the way, I want to say too, I'm not claiming to be an expert on this issue or anything like that. I've kind of just probably like a lot of you guys that, you read stuff online. And I feel like on the internet now too, it's you don't even know what's real anymore.
So yeah, these two dipshits decided to interview the Hitler of our times. And also is it a bit that he doesn't know how to wear a collar? Is that part of the joke? Is part of the joke that he looks like a rumpled, unprepared salesman who sold one vacuum cleaner to his mom? Is that part of the bit? Is that part of the appeal? I don't know. Are we watching this entire thing? No, we're not watching this entire thing because frankly, I don't have the stamina to do that. But I find it fascinating that they open it up and they're just yeah, we should not be doing this. Hey, we are not qualified at all to do this. Oh boy, are we morons who have no idea what we're doing. We shouldn't do it. But here we are doing it anyway. Let's go. The vibes are already abysmal.
You read shit and it's you see a headline and it's like, is this true? Is this not true? So I see so much stuff about, what's
we see a lot of stuff circulating in the media these days, or should we say Lügenpresse, and we don't even know what's true anymore. So we decided to interview Hitler to see and get to the truth of what's happening inside of these Jewish ghettos. We've been hearing a lot of different reports. Some people say, there's a lot of bad things happening in there. There are some reports that there was an uprising, on the other hand, and maybe the ghettos are necessary for our mutual protection. We don't know what to believe, so we're asking Hitler about it.
I see, they're simple farmers, people of the land, the common clay of the New West. Morons.
Yeah, exactly. we don't really know what's happening, but maybe this Hitler guy can shed some light on what's happening in the concentration camps. He would never lie to us. I'm sure he's a straight shooter. It's genuinely what they're doing.
What's going on in Israel and, Iran and Palestine. And to be honest, I just really don't know what is going on there. So it's going to be interesting to sit down with.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting. I don't know shit about shit. And I haven't bothered to fact check our guest. So he can say literally anything, and it won't matter, and we'll willingly platform it to over 1 million people.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, and kind of just ask him some questions about what we read online and
get educated.
Probably going to be a lot.
Yeah, you know what's great? I love when I haven't read anything about this Hitler guy or his policies. Let's just talk to him directly, no context whatsoever, and he'll educate us on the issues.
A lot of hate in the comments and stuff like that. In my opinion, I mean, dude,
we're journalists, right?
We're technically journalists.
How can you pass up this opportunity at the end of the day?
No, and plus, at the end of the day, it's like we get the opportunity to sit down with one of the most powerful people in the world, a world leader.
Yeah.
And we get to ask him some stuff, and we're going to ask him what we want to ask him too. So,
hey, pro tip, if you want to sit down with a world leader, you've got to actually do your prep. You've got to actually understand what their policies are, why they're pursuing what they're pursuing. You actually have to give a shit, this isn't something you just wing. If you recognize it's important, then you got to do your homework and treat it like it's important. If you just showed up on your wedding day to your wife and were like, hey, I've never met you before, but maybe you can educate me and then we'll get married. That's not going to fly, dog. Not going to fly. And for some reason, you think it's going to fly here.
If you guys, want to hear shit, whatever questions you guys want to hear, there's probably a ton of other interviews of him on CNN or typical news stuff. We're going to ask him what we want to ask him. So to me, this is crazy. How far we've come, and we're get to sit down with world leaders.
Yeah, if Netanyahu comes to you and wants to do an interview, you really have to do some soul searching on what motivated him to do that. A world leader doesn't just pick a random podcast to go on. They pick that podcast carefully and specifically.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. So.
Yeah. I mean, for any backlash, this is just an opportunity, again, you can't really pass up. I don't see it, there's no one else doing this.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll sit down with any world leader in the world.
I agree.
I mean, my dream guest is Kim Jong-un.
Both of
Kim
ours.
Jong-un, if you're watching this,
this is kind of
like to come to North Korea and interview you.
All I could think about is the interview when we're doing
so.
This is making me die a little inside. The sad part is I don't think they will ever realize how they fucked up so badly. Well, that's the thing. They are so pea-brained. They don't understand their role in this dynamic.
Go down to pull up to Moscow and interview Putin too.
Yeah, we'll do everybody.
This is what sets off podcasts. You could put a small microphone here, but no, you have to see this thing, right?
Yeah. Prime Minister Netanyahu with us today. We're here in the Blair House.
Yep.
Right? Is this the White House grounds?
Close. It's the sort of the official guest house of the United States.
How have you seen the White House and stuff? How has it evolved over the years, over the times of you visiting it?
I've met...
That's where we're going to start, huh? Wow, you've really visited a lot of places, Mr. Netanyahu. Can you explain in detail all of those places and how they've changed over time? This is like the evil version of Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's most non-excellent adventure.
Quite a few of the American presidents because I've been in office pretty long time. Not because we don't have elections, but because I've won quite a few of them, okay?
This man tried to seize dictatorial power in Israel. Just a reminder, like a handful of years ago, tried to steal dictatorial power in that country. Like, again, if you know anything about anything, you bring that up. You bring up the fact that literally millions of Israelis were in the streets protesting his attempt to seize power.
I think there's never been a friend like Donald Trump in the White House for Israel. I think he's a remarkable leader. I think he's changing history. He said he'll make America great again. He's already done it. You know, America is widely admired now around the world, and especially after our joint operation against this regime that wanted to, chance death to America, death to Israel. Well,
why must you ruin all my favorite things tonight? You can still enjoy Bill and Ted. These people are just the worst version of Bill and Ted. Like, we can call them Till and Bed.
I think together we've shown the world a different face of America. Very powerful, very directed, very resolute.
You guys are very tight, right? Would you call it a bromance?
Well, you might. I mean, we've known each other.
Kill me. Honestly, someone, a user in chat saying kill me with the username pretty big oof. I feel like that encapsulates my response to this as well. It is one pretty big oof and one plea for death.
Other several decades, and I really like him.
What do you like most about him?
If you meet him close up, and Sarah and I have had this opportunity.
I love how big his dick is. I just love it. It's huge, colossal. I said, wow, I've never met a man with 3 legs. And then I to my surprise, it went fully erect. Never seen anything like it.
Many times, including last night in a great dinner we had at the White House. First of all, Donald Trump can be very funny.
Of course.
He can be very funny.
Especially off camera, right?
He can split you sort of sit there and you start guffawing because it's so funny. And also, I'll tell you something.
You start guffawing, as one does to very funny jokes. Whomst among us hasn't guffawed? Wow, Benjamin Netanyahu is just like all of us. Wow. I hate this so much.
Something else. That Sarah, who's a psychologist, and she, psychologists, psychologists?
Of course.
They look at people, they identify.
Benjamin Netanyahu knows exactly what kind of show he's on and what kind of people he's talking to. Did you catch that?
Psychologists.
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 Of course.
They look at people.
He's literally not even sure they know what a psychologist is.
They identify very quickly with that. You know what you said to me about Donald Trump? He said he's a good person. He has a good heart.
I can't. Bring me literally anything else. How do you feel about Obama? How do you feel about Americans? Wow, some hard-hitting questions.
Questions are about Israel.
Well, first of all, they don't know what kind of an open society it is, how pluralistic. I mean, we live in the heart of the Middle East, okay? Iran is not that far away.
We live in the heart of the Middle East. It's an open society where gays can't get married, and anyone who's anyone who's Palestinian gets treated as a second-class citizen. It's a very open, pluralistic society, except when it comes to those filthy Palestinians and to the gays.
In Iran, they hang gays by cranes. In Israel, probably Tel Aviv is one of the, the most open.
In Israel, we just don't let them marry. We're very progressive that way. Sure, we don't let them marry, but we also don't kill them for public spectacle. We will, however, blackmail Palestinians living under oppressive regimes in order to coerce them to work with us, and then when we no longer have a use for them, we will release that blackmail and rely on the terroristic group Hamas to execute them. Well, we also support Hamas. We provide them money and aid in order directly to facilitate their political rise and continued dominance within any kind of Palestinian society. We do this. Because we just love the gays so much.
Liberal-minded city on earth. Israel is a high.
We visited there, yeah.
No, it's completely different.
Our assistant's gay too. He had a good time.
Well, you can vouch.
Yeah, no, we all had a good
So,
time.
you know, I mean, look at that. How about women? Okay. Women in Iran, they shoot the women. They shot this extraordinarily brave and beautiful woman, shot on the sidewalk because she showed too much hair.
Just gonna throw this out there. Hey, look, this is a woman named Shireen Abu Akleh, trailblazer who gave voice to Palestinians. Let's take a look. What happened to her, by the way? Oh, the Palestinian Al Jazeera journalist killed by Israeli forces on Wednesday was a veteran television correspondent who became a household name across the Arab world for her bold coverage of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Huh. Well, let's click this link. What do you mean? Oh, Israeli forces have shot Al Jazeera correspondent Shireen Abu Akleh in the occupied West Bank. She was killed while covering Israeli raids in the city of Jenin. Well, that's strange. Let's see. What was the international investigation into this? What happened here? The UNICEF spokeswoman in the Middle East stated, "Farewell, voice of Palestine, and thank you very much for your courage, objectivity, and journalistic professionalism." International Federation of Journalists stated in an official statement that the testimonies of the journalists who were accompanied by Shireen Abu Akleh confirmed that her targeting was deliberate and systematic, and added that journalists wearing precisely defined press jackets were targeted by Israeli snipers. The Iraqi Journalists Syndicate also condemned the assassination of journalist Shireen Abu Akleh and called for an urgent international investigation to uncover the perpetrators. Because it turned out the IDF deliberately targeted her and shot her. But, you know, when Iran does it, it's the most heinous crime imaginable. When Israel does it, it's totally fine. Don't even talk about it, bro.
In Israel, women are, you know what women, I'll tell you what the difference is, okay? So I had this young woman officer in my military secretariat. You know, the prime minister has military secretariat, and usually has a general and it has staff assistants. One of the staff assistants was this young woman pilot, navigator, on leave from the Air Force to do this work in the prime minister's office. You know what she did now? She was flying over the skies of Tehran, you know, attacking this horrible regime that tyrannizes the women in Tehran. That's a difference.
Hey, just as an FYI, she was valiantly flying in the skies above Tehran in an unprovoked attack that killed hundreds of civilians perpetrated by Israel. There's not going to be any pushback on this because these morons don't even know enough to know what the dynamic was, who shot first in this conflict.
The women there get shot on the sidewalk, and an Israeli woman pilot.
Oh, well, did an Israeli woman pilot drop the bomb on the prison facility in Iran and kill over 100 transgender inmates? Did a female pilot do that? Is that good and progressive of Israel to have a female fighter pilot be the one to kill 100 transgender prisoners versus a male fighter pilot? Like, we're literally in the territory of female drone pilots, more female drone strikes, but like unironically being done by our generation's Hitler.
It helps liberate Iran, quite the women of Iran, and boy, that's a big difference. And that's
100 trans inmates. Did you guys not hear this story? I didn't cover it at the time, but here's Democracy Now! Iranian lawyer says 100 transgender prisoners died in Israeli bombing of Evin prison. In other news from Iran, a prominent human rights lawyer reports some 100 transgender prisoners went missing and are presumed dead after Israel bombed Tehran's notorious Evin prison on June 23rd as part of its 12-day war with Iran. And Israel's strikes also hit Evin's hospital ward. Evin prison is well known for holding political prisoners, as well as for torture and executions. Following Israel's assault, detainees have been transferred elsewhere, but their loved ones' worn conditions remain dire. Really improved their conditions by killing them.
It's true of everything. It's true of nightlife. It's true of the startup nation, the incredible ingenuity and entrepreneurship, incredible freedom. Israel is a I would say is a paragon of freedom in an area that doesn't exactly enjoy freedom. And to have young Americans,
which is why he attempted to do like a political coup in Israel, you know, for the freedom.
March and support these mass rapists, these people who beheaded men, who burned babies alive. I'm talking about the Hamas monsters. Is that their ideal? They know nothing. I mean, they don't know what they're talking about. And I want to bring that truth to them. So Israel is a great free society and the best partner that America has anywhere on
Great
earth.
people there for sure. When we visited, everyone was so welcome.
Like, do these guys really not understand how it comes across that like Netanyahu spews like a ton of lies at them, and they're like, yeah, Israel's really great, bro. Like, everyone was so nice to us when we were there. Like, how could Israel really be doing anything bad? Like, there's like a fucking McDonald's there, bro. People were really nice. I got like free fries when I was there.
Welcoming, and people were inviting us over for dinner and stuff. But I see, like, that's the thing too. I'm not claiming to be an expert too, but I'll just read stuff on like X, and like people will say like Israel's killing babies or like they're starving people.
That's completely false. In fact, the reason
My people's greatest strength is in taking our religious and cultural traditions and making them work everywhere across the globe. Why would we settle for Israel?
I don't know, Sake Tanuki. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. So, as many of you know, the IDF, via their aid distribution sites, has been distributing aid, but also, and this is according to testimony from soldiers in the IDF, they've been getting orders to open fire and shoot innocent civilians coming for food, coming for medical supplies, coming for any of those things. And so it has started this endless cycle of making a horrific choice. You either go without food and slowly die a horrible, painful death, or you risk being shot and go to try and get food. Anyway, here is an update from today. Israel attacks kill more than 80 in Gaza as starvation intensifies. Israeli attacks across Gaza killed at least 81 people, including 31 aid seekers since dawn.
We even made our bald spot covers and practice of not eating the desert shrimp mainstream. How crazy is that? Imagine what 5,000 years of curing tech would make.
Indeed. Imagine what not doing this shit would be. Like, it's so fucking hard, man. The number of people dying of hunger is steadily increasing, according to Nasser Hospital. Gaza is a horror show with a level of death and destruction without parallel in recent times, according to the UN Secretary of General. It's really grim, guys. It's really fucking grim. Is the UN Hamas now? No, but like Benjamin Netanyahu has called the UN anti-Semitic in the past. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know how you can say this when settlers were blocking aid going into Israel or going into Gaza. I don't know how you can say this when like literally every international aid organization that has poked their head into Gaza goes, holy fuck, people are dying. Like, I don't get it. It's just it's just beyond what the human mind can comprehend.
That feel when the game This War of Mine is more positive and hopeful than reality.
Honestly, Gaza's been at risk of famine for months, experts say. Here's why they haven't declared one. But let's take a look here. Even though Israel eased a 2.5-month-long blockade on the territory in May, aid groups say only a trickle of assistance is getting into the enclave and that Palestinians face catastrophic levels of hunger 21 months into the Israeli offensive launched after Hamas attack on October 7th. UN says Gaza's hunger crisis is worsening. Gaza's population of roughly 2 million Palestinians relies almost entirely on outside aid. Israel's offensive has wiped out what was already limited local food production. Israel's blockade, along with ongoing fighting and chaos inside the territory, has further limited people's access to food. The UN World Food Program says Gaza's hunger crisis has reached new and astonishing levels of desperation. Nearly 100,000 women and children are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, and a third of Gaza's population is going days without eating. Ross Smith, the agency's director for emergencies, said on Monday. Netanyahu has a deal with a terrorist group to allow them to steal the food coming in, and the terrorists keep the food and sell some on the black market. Yep, that is another thing. They've been arming roving gangs within Gaza specifically to disrupt the logistics of aid distribution. Gaza's health ministry said Tuesday that more than 100 people have died while showing signs of hunger and malnutrition, mostly children. It's truly awful.
We have civilian casualties in Gaza is because Hamas, who are basically horrible murderers and killers, okay, committed to our destruction.
So these guys actually did zero research. They actually did zero research, and this is the disgusting result of what happens when you do zero research with someone like this.
And your destruction. They say so openly. I mean, they say the big enemy, the real enemy, the great Satan is America. And Israel is the small Satan. But it's a small Satan that is standing in their way of conquering with other Iranian proxies, conquering the Middle East, and then we move on to you. So America is the great Satan, and America, needs to disappear. And we stand in their way. But
yeah, because Hamas was going to pose a real existential threat to America.
One of the things you have to understand is Gaza is the densest urban environment you can find, and
it's the world's largest concentration camp. Yeah.
Hamas embeds itself in the civilian population of Gaza, the Palestinians, okay? We tell the Palestinians, hey, leave, because after they butchered us and raped.
Hey, just out of curiosity, how are the Palestinians supposed to leave exactly? Genuine question. What process is there to even get out of Gaza? Like, if you wanted to leave, how would one go about doing that? This is one of the things that, I would love a question about. Because there are no avenues to leave except death. That's it. That's the only way to get out. You're going to be stopped by the Egyptian military or border officials if you even make it that far in the first place. Unfortunately, they would just use an open border to do an ethnic cleansing. I understand that. But even in this formulation, there's no way for these people to get out and attempt to end their suffering and build a new life someplace else. That isn't an option available to them. So their option is slowly dying. And he's going on a mainstream American podcast to talk about how they
Our Palestinians, hey, leave. Because
we tell the Palestinians, hey, leave. You can't.
Because after they butchered us and raped our women and beheaded our men and burned our babies, we have to remove this threat. So we come in to take care of the Hamas terrorists. But the Hamas terrorists don't leave the civilian neighborhoods. And we say to the civilians, we call them up because we have their telephone numbers. We say, leave, please leave.
They're very active cellular networks in Gaza. They're very stable and fully charged phones, always at the ready after you've destroyed all of the power infrastructure in Gaza.
Send them leaflets, millions of leaflets, please leave. We do everything that is possible that no army has done. They want to leave. You know what Hamas does? They shoot them. You say, we want you to stay because we want to have civilian casualties, because then they can show it on CNN or all these other networks and so on and claim that Israel is deliberately doing this. We're not deliberately doing anything. We'd like them to leave. And in fact, successively during the war, it's been now a year and a half, they finally do leave, most of them. So we've minimized those casualties, but it's not because we seek to have civilian casualties.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Not deliberately doing anything. We'd like them to leave. And in fact, successively during the war, it's been now a year and a half, they finally do leave, most of them.
What is he talking about? This is the level of lie that I'm actually, I'm a bit flabbergasted. There's no way for them to leave. But he's saying they finally do leave, most of them. There are 2.2 million Palestinians in Gaza. The vast overwhelming majority of them are not members of Hamas. And also, they can't leave. So what are you talking about? Other than to say, well, don't worry, the people we're killing are all Hamas now. It's been so long, all the good people left, when that never happened. It's just a killing floor.
So we've minimized those casualties, but it's not because we seek to have civilian casualties. It's because Hamas wants them. They're willing to.
Look, the terrorist took a civilian hostage, so therefore we shot the hostage and the terrorist. Makes perfect sense.
We wanted them to leave, but they wouldn't, so we just have to kill them all, was also the excuse used for the Holocaust.
Yep, there's a reason why I compare this man to Hitler.
Sacrifice their own children, their own families, both because they don't really care for human life, but also because they think it's very good propaganda against us. And if they just let them leave the war zone, get to the safe parts, safe havens that we've created in Gaza.
There are no safe havens. You told people to leave the northern half of Gaza to go to the southern half. And then you told people to leave the southern half to go to the northern half. And as people make the trek back and forth, you keep killing them anyway. And as they starve to death, as they succumb to malnutrition and dehydration and illness and infection, you kill them. Just leave to the safe havens, bruv. There are no safe havens.
No one would be hurt. And the minute Hamas lays down its arms, surrenders, maybe we let them leave Gaza, that's the end of the war. No one gets hurt.
What would your message be to Palestinians that just want to have like a peaceful life?
Get rid of Hamas. Help us get rid of Hamas. They torment you. They oppress you. They shoot you in the back of the head. If you want to leave the war.
Yeah, Hamas is the main evil here. Don't think about the fact that Israel, over the last year and a half, has killed exponentially more people in Gaza than Hamas ever has. Also, again, if these guys knew anything about anything, they would ask him here about the fact that, like, the Netanyahu government provided funding to Hamas specifically to support it and beat out, like, empower it to beat out any other potential peaceful political rivals that might seek to take its place. But they don't know shit about shit, so they can't ask him that.
Zone, they kill you. And if you say a word in protest, they'll kill you. If you're gay, you're in bad shape, really bad shape. And if you are a woman, you're chattel, you're nothing. You're property. That's the opposite of everything we believe in. We, I say, it's not only Israel, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the same.
How do you respond to, like, I'd say there's a lot of American support from the females, from the gays towards Palestine. So how does that make any sense?
That's, gays for Gaza is like chickens for KFC. I mean, that's insane. The whole thing is absurd. Chickens for KFC.
I mean, not if you value the fundamental dignity of human life. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't think genocide is ever acceptable. I don't think, like, you can. I believe in their right to life, in their right to live and build a life together, even granting that they're all bigots against me specifically. Even granting that, and it's not true, by the way. That is another lie. But even granting it, yeah, I don't support you killing all of those people. Like I'm sorry. And maybe this is just a fundamental difference, but I happen to believe that there is an inherent value to human life. I think human life is good. And what he's trying to put, what Netanyahu is trying to put forward there is that, in fact, there's some human life that is bad and needs to be extinguished. They hate you, so obviously you want them to die. I mean, that is the headspace of someone like this, a far-right conservative lunatic who is hell-bent on leading his country into a fascist death spiral. That is the ideology he needs to have in order to support the kinds of things he does. Like, again, in his world, in his perfect world, the crime of hating him and his governance would be punishable by death.
KFC, right? Gays for Gaza, or women for the women of Gaza. What are you talking about? They're completely subjugated. They've got this death cult that is contaminated. So you can push this stuff on TikTok or whatever on the stuff, but you can't build peace or security on the, on the rocks. They'll crash. I mean, these things will crash on the rocks of Middle Eastern realities. You can only build peace on truth. And
I want one of these dipshits to be like, that doesn't make any sense or mean anything.
Reality, not on deliberate, falsified fantasy.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food.
Yeah, how do you respond to your own ministers talking about a total and complete lockdown of the Gaza Strip? How do you respond to that? Because they've been saying they're not sending food in. They bragged about it openly for months. But now you're like, no, enough food has gotten in the entire time. No starvation happened. In light of all evidence and testimony to the contrary, based on the people who've been there to volunteer their time and their safety to provide medical and food aid to those in Gaza.
Takes the good chunk for itself, then sells at inflated prices. They jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population, to its hungry population, if they give them at all, and then use the money that they take from their own people to recruit.
Vincenzo, yeah, the IDF, there was a story in Haaretz specifically about IDF soldiers, based on the testimony of those IDF soldiers, being given orders to fire upon civilians coming for food aid. I remember the Flower Massacre. Like, there have been regular massacres against civilians trying to get food aid for months now.
More killers into their terror machine. That's what happens.
Why are more Palestinians not siding with Israel against Hamas then?
Well, up to now, they've been terrorized. But guess what's happened? Since we're beating Hamas, all of a sudden we see Palestinians rising. You have to see this to believe this, okay?
They've all rallied behind Israel, and they believe in Israel's right to kill them. What are you talking about, bro?
And they say to Hamas, hey, you're not coming into my building. You can't use my school.
What building? What fucking school? Where are these buildings still standing? Like, I remember talking about a year ago, and like 90% of the habitable buildings had been destroyed. That was a year ago.
This hospital as your command post, we're not letting you. And they start fighting them. Now we have actually armed conflict between Palestinians and terrorists. It was unimaginable a year and a half ago. But now there are Palestinians who rise up. And, the more the better, because we can create a different future for Gaza. And we should also do something very simple that President Trump said, and it was brilliant. So that's my idea. That's how he cuts to the chase. He says, at the end of this war, the people of Gaza should have the choice. If they want to leave for other countries, they want a freedom of choice.
Hey, by the way, just to take a look here, here, this is from 5 days ago, this article. Israel leveling thousands of Gaza civilian buildings in controlled demolitions. They've run out of things to do in Gaza to destroy the capacity of the Palestinian people to live there. So they are systematically going block by block and destroying whatever ruins might be usable as buildings. Israel has demolished thousands of buildings across Gaza since it withdrew from a ceasefire with Hamas in March, with entire towns and suburbs, once home to tens of thousands of people, leveled in the past few weeks. Satellite images show massive amounts of destruction in several areas, which Israel's military command claims to have under operational control. Large swaths of it have been caused by planned demolitions, both to already damaged buildings and ones that appeared largely intact. Verified footage shows large explosions unleashing plumes of dust and debris as Israeli forces carry out controlled demolitions on tower blocks, schools, and other infrastructure. Multiple legal experts told BBC Verified that Israel may have committed war crimes under the Geneva Convention, which largely prohibits the destruction of infrastructure by an occupying power. An IDF spokesperson said it operated in accordance with international law, that Hamas concealed military assets in civilian areas, and that the destruction of property is only performed when an imperative military necessity is demanded. And they definitely, I'm sorry, like the idea that entire civilian blocks represent an amount of Hamas infrastructure so sophisticated and embedded that you have to destroy the entire city block. Nah, that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. The scale of the destruction can be clearly seen in the city of Rafah near the border with Egypt. And like this shot zooms out here. Just look at this. In recent weeks, Israeli forces and contractors have leveled large swaths of Rafah. An analysis of damage by academics Corey Schur and Jaman van den Hoek found the destruction of Gaza since April has been most concentrated in the region. They've just been systematically destroying the entire city, so that not even like a stone can be propped up to use as shelter. Like, I don't know, man. Controlled explosions, excavators, and bulldozers have obliterated whole areas. There are still people trying to claim this isn't a genocide. There are still people trying to claim, no, we're just destroying the entire city. It's not a genocide. Oh, sure, people might be starving to death, and we might be shooting people at the aid stations, but it's not a genocide. In July, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, outlined plans to establish what he called a humanitarian city over the ruins of Rafah, with an additional 600,000 Palestinians being confined there. The plan has been widely condemned. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert told the BBC that the proposal would be interpreted as being akin to a concentration camp. And I need to remind you guys, Gaza was already the world's largest concentration camp. What they want to do is they want to build an even larger, more concentrated camp in Rafah. Israel claims its military has operational control over large areas of the Gaza Strip, which are now militarized zones or have been under evacuation orders. BBC Verified has identified footage of infrastructure being demolished in 40 locations since the ceasefire ended in March. Video footage shows schools like this school in Tel al-Sultan being leveled along with residential and municipal buildings. See it right there. Tel al-Sultan was one of Rafah City's most vibrant neighborhoods. Its densely packed streets were home to Rafah's only specialized maternity hospital and a center caring for orphaned and abandoned children. Satellite images showed that much of the area has been heavily damaged by Israeli bombing and artillery fire, but dozens of buildings had withstood the barrage. But by the 13th of July, the destruction had escalated, with even the shells of damaged buildings swept away and entire blocks torn to the ground. The hospital is one of the handful of buildings left standing. Similarly, demolitions are now underway in the adjacent Saudi neighborhood, once home to the city's largest mosque and several schools. One verified clip shows a tank moving along a street in Rafah while a digger works on the side of the road. Like, it's just... Look at that. Like, what are you accomplishing here? What are you accomplishing there? I'm sorry. Like, it's insane to me to platform this man and know nothing. No, this isn't terrorism. This is not terrorism. And I say that not because I'm saying it's good. I'm saying because terrorism is done with specific political aims to extract specific political aims from a population or from a government. This is not that. This is the seeking the complete and utter destruction of the people who live here. This is genocide. Because what is being demanded of both the government and the people in Gaza is their death. That's what's being demanded here. How did Israel become radicalized towards genocide? Genuinely curious. I mean, it's a confluence of different things, but it's largely propped up by a militant right-wing colonizer ideology that we call Zionism. You have this settler colonial mentality. It is inherently an ideology that subjugates others in the name of that ideology, in the name of that goal, right? It is at heart like a system, and we've seen it too. Like we saw like that the British man who interviews people. You all understand who I mean. But he interviewed like the head of the godmother of like the settler colonial movement in Israel, and she was just cackling. She didn't view Palestinians as people, because in order to fully embrace the idea of what it means to build the greater Israel project is to also embrace the idea that Palestinians are lesser than you. And not just Palestinians, but Arabs in general are lesser than you. Also, just heads up, don't use the term Zio. I understand the impulse, but that's some straight up like Nazi shit. And I say that because it was made by David Duke, a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, Louis Thoreau. Thank you. Thank you, Pretty Big Oof. Yeah, Louis Thoreau, The Settlers. Highly recommend you guys check out that that program because it is eye-opening the extent to which these people have like commodified the system of stealing land from Palestinians. I saw that and she just laughed when he said humans. Yes. She laughed in his face when he like implied that Palestinians are human beings. It's genuinely awful. So you have like this settler colonial ideology, but you also have a highly militarized society, you know, especially with like some of the conflicts that arose with different countries attempting to invade Israel. You have like this built-in militaristic hierarchy that pervades a lot of the society. You combine that with a settler colonial ideology, and that's basically like crap, right? Like you just supercharged the settler colonial mentality and like ability to carry it out, you know? If basically everyone is getting military training and then they go back to civilian life, well, there are going to be some of those people who are true believers in like this greater Israel project who go out there and with the barrel of their gun, take more land, settle more land. And as we know, all too well here in America, settling the American West was really just pushing people out of the American West with at the barrel of your gun. And if they came to try and kick you out or remove you from their land because they viewed you as an invader, the U.S. military would show up and do massacres. We've seen this dynamic play out in so many other countries around the world, but especially in the United States, we are familiar with this. And for some reason, a lot of people just are incapable of seeing that dynamic for what it is. Like, I think a lot of Americans in particular are comfortable like saying the conquistadors did genocides when they came to the Americas. I think a growing number of people are willing to say, Christopher Columbus did a genocide to like Native Americans, etc. But I think far fewer people are willing to view the pursued destruction of indigenous people here in America as a genocide. A lot of people in America are willing to go to bat for Manifest Destiny to this day. It's the same thing. That kind of commonality, the impulse to defend Manifest Destiny as good and just is the same kind of impulse that leads a lot of Americans to see like this kind of kinship with Israel, to excuse like the atrocities being perpetrated as just a necessary evil for their security. So it is enabled by us. The radicalization of the Israeli government is one that has been, basically been built in by the ever-present desire to grow in the settler colonial mentality and the militaristic nature of like their country. And I am, of course, providing like a simplified overview of this. Like it is more complicated than I'm making it out to be. But that is the broad strokes version of the answer I would give you.
Why are they locked in? Hell, we're not locking them in. Anybody could leave, but Hamas is locking them in.
Oh, and anybody could leave? Like, wait, so a Palestinian can like walk from Gaza City into Israel? Is that so? Something tells me they would just get shot dead for even attempting to do so, for even thinking about doing so.
Suppose they want to leave. They want to go to another country, okay? Why shouldn't they have the freedom of choice to do that? Because this is all upside down.
Okay, so they should all be able to go to Israel, right?
The victim of this horrible terrorism is called the aggressor. The people who are oppressed by Hamas are seen as supporting Hamas. Give them a choice. Give them freedom. Give them a life and give them a future. They can't have that with these Hamas stormtroopers. But the amazing thing is, I come here and I see these protests.
No, they're. For some reason, they all just want to die. So we're happy to kill them.
People who are protesting for Hamas and against Israel, they burn American flags. They not only burn the flag of Israel, they burn American flags.
This guy is an evil motherfucker. Hey, you know what? You have the God-given right here in America to burn the American flag. That is your right. It is your constitutional right to free speech. And that has been decided by the Supreme Court. It is protected speech. This motherfucker is coming here from Israel to talk about how, like, oh yeah, all these people who support not killing Palestinians en masse, they're also using their free speech in other ways that, you know, disrespect the country. It's like, yeah, that's because we actually believe in freedom here in America, unlike apparently in Israel.
Anti-American. They're not MAGA. They're not supporters. You know, who do they support? You know who they support? They support Iran and its proxy, Hamas or Hezbollah. What does Iran do? Just understand, people
Yeah, I talked about this not too long ago. I see your comment for Lauren79. It reminded me. But remember, I did a video about how they changed how land ownership works in the West Bank, effectively eliminating all Palestinian claims on land in the West Bank outside of like some very small controlled areas. They stopped recognizing like the Jordanian like land deeds, and basically are saying the only valid deeds that show land ownership now are issued by Israel. Any previous deeds are null and void, effectively opening up a massive land grab for settlers in the West Bank. It's horrific.
Who support Iran or speak on its behalf. Iran tried to assassinate President Trump, not once, but twice.
They were behind those assassination attempts?
They openly admit. By the way, they put out a price on his head, on mine too, by the way, smaller price. I'm not offended.
They actually put a price on your head?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Do you know what it is?
Do you know
yeah, it's smaller than his.
Dude, okay. I do have to appreciate that this guy is, like, has the look of like, damn, how much is the price on your head? I have to do a cost benefit analysis real quick. Okay, all right. Thanks for saying that. All right, cool.
Actually put a price on your head?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Do you know what it is?
Do you know
yeah, it's smaller than his, naturally. He's the president of the United States, for God's sake, okay? So they put...
All right, I can't really take more of this. It's just so fucking bad.
the highest population of Jews in New York City? How's that even possible?
Well, it's possible because a lot of people have been taken in by this nonsense. I mean, what?
You're tricking the Jews with your evil discourse magic. I think you call them arguments.
You want to defund the police? You want to have people go into stores and, rob them and be free?
Yes, I just want to double check. This is about Zoran Mamdani, right?
I'm just trying to figure it out too, because even in New York City, right? What's Zoran?
Yeah.
He's an anti-Semitic guy.
Yeah.
The highest.
Jesus Christ. These people suck butt.
I think the highest population of Jews in New York City. How's that even possible?
Well, it's possible because...
Well, also, the audio leaked just today of Andrew Cuomo talking about how Zoran Mamdani won the Jewish vote in New York City in the primary. So, genuinely, Benjamin Netanyahu looks directly into the camera and is like, it's because the Jews in America have been tainted by the evil leftist thought of socialism. It's genuinely insane. And again, because these stupid idiots don't know shit about shit, and they hang out with all these UFC fuckos. They're like, oh yeah, I heard Zoran was anti-Semitic. So what do you think about that?
A lot of people have been taken in by this nonsense.
Yeah, Zoran Mamdani. He ran on free crime for everyone, right? I can't do more of this. I'm sorry. I am really sorry. That being said, I do want to say shout out to Hassan for trying to talk to these stupid baby-brained morons.
All right, so you guys interviewed the Adolf Hitler incarnate, Benjamin Netanyahu, and now everybody's yelling at you guys, I assume, right? Is that what's going on?
Yes, we're getting definitely some yells.
Yeah. Okay, so first and foremost, who the set that up? Was it Miriam Adelson?
Well, we actually toured the White House right before, and he was in D.C. So it's kind of like a
someone must have. Benjamin Netanyahu wasn't like, I love the Nelk boys. I'm a big consumer of Happy Dad, and then was like, let's do this.
Well, we've had Trump on a few times. Some of the communications team at the White House hit us up, connected us with their communications team, and presented us the opportunity to do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, let's do it. Sounds great.
I mean, yeah, I can say it again. I've said it a few times, but I can't speak to podcasting as a whole. And, other podcasters, they'll have people on with just people they've had good relationships with, or their friends, or people they agree with. But with the Full Send podcast, hate it or love it, right or wrong, if we ever get the opportunity to have a controversial guest on, we're never going to turn it down. Because in my opinion, what we want to do with the Full Send podcast on is we're not afraid to have controversial people on. We're going to ask them questions. Sure, we're probably not the best at asking questions. We're not the best journalists, never claimed to be, so we might not be the best at pressing them.
Yeah, so maybe don't have literal Hitler on your podcast, bro. Like, if you know that you're baby-brained morons who might actually be having a negative impact by platforming this person, don't do it. Stop. You could just not do it.
But in my opinion, it's up to the viewer to form their own educated opinion. Like, we have someone controversial.
Yeah, look, we don't have educated opinions. It's up to all of you to be more educated and have opinions.
We ask them questions. I think people give us a little too much credit when they say, oh, you're platforming him, or like, I think, sure, we have a young audience, but they're not stupid. And we don't think they're stupid whatsoever. And I think this podcast is a perfect example of that. If you go and read the comments, just because we have someone on and we're sitting beside someone, people aren't going to be like, oh my God, Milk's with them. Like, I love this person. Like, yeah, wait, that's just not the way it works.
I don't think anybody loves Benjamin Netanyahu.
I mean, what's very clear is that they just let him spew propaganda for like over an hour of things that were just not true. And like, without pushing back, you can't rely on your audience to just like know what is true or what is not. And if you are there and you're buddying around with Netanyahu, your audience is going to be, especially if your audience is a fan of these guys, they're going to just believe the bullshit he's spinning. So you either have to push back or realize you're not equipped for it and don't do it. Like, I don't know, maybe like an equivalent here is like, you don't touch that hot stove. Like, if you touch that hot stove, you're gonna get burned. You're gonna get burned. If you're wearing like I don't know, some kind of oven mitt, you can touch that hot stove and be relatively okay. You might even be able to do something about the hot stove. Like, I don't know. This analogy is falling apart, but you guys understand what I mean, right? Like, if you're unprepared, don't do that thing. It's pretty simple. Jack, I remember their old vids where they would go to random college classes and rip bongs in the middle of class. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's probably why people enjoyed their content in the first place.
I even think American presidents like Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think you can listen. I don't think you can platform the prime minister of Israel. That's not my argument. I don't really give a shit about that.
But
my question is, do you feel like there is a culpability that you have? Because, like, look, Donald Trump is a contentious figure, and obviously he's responsible for a metric ton of pain and violence as well, but so is every other American.
If you're confused about the chat, the on-screen chat is at riverboat.gg. If you go there, that's how you get to the on-screen chat.
President, that's one thing. But Benjamin Netanyahu is like unique in the sense that he's also a foreign leader. So I guess the question is like, because he's getting something out of this, right? He's getting something out of this where he gets to, I guess, like try and humanize himself.
That's the thing that's on is we'll have anyone on. Like, next episode, we're going to have someone on with the complete opposite ideology that we've already been planning before this podcast came out.
Who are you guys having on?
I mean, I'd love to hear your suggestions. We have from different friends. You could DM us after if you don't want to say them live, but we're talking to a few different people and we want to choose the right person to kind of represent, the opposite side.
Okay, but Benjamin Netanyahu isn't just like a podcaster, you know what I mean? Like, he's literally the prime minister that is a war criminal by the International Criminal Court. He's like literally branded as a war criminal. And it's unique because like the International Criminal Court is a European institution and they've never actually criticized an American or anyone who's an American ally in the past. So it's like he's killed so many children that even the International Criminal Court was like, damn, this guy sucks. Yeah. He's literally like interviewing Adolf Hitler.
I think if you watch it though too, I think yes. I mean, I think me and Steiny could have pressed him a little bit harder, but we did ask him, what is your response to when people say you're starving children in Gaza? Do you think October 7th could have been prevented?
Yeah, but understand those are bad questions to ask him. Like those are really bad questions to ask that man because he's just going to lie. Like this is like two men who have never encountered the concept of lying before. these dudes are not ideologically evil. They're just really low IQ dude bros. I mean, I can buy that a little bit, but I think they're like slightly evil low IQ dude bros, maybe like pretty incapable of realizing what they did wrong, right? But like I do inherently distrust someone who's like, oh yeah, Zoran Mamdani, that anti-Semite. I'm sorry, when I hear that, I can't really conceive of you as having no ideology. I do agree that low IQ dude bro, though I don't like IQ. It's too Let's move away from talking about IQ. It's a eugenicist term, and I don't like it. They are low intelligence dude bros, you know? And I just think that if you're talking about
when you're losing the argument to a himbo who has random women on his stream to watch Benzel Sharpener, you should not be streaming.
Okay, I might regret this. What is Benzel Sharpener? And thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs, Sake Tanuki. Thank you for supporting the stream. And if anyone else would like to do so, more than appreciated when you guys do so. Really appreciate it. Nomi Sunrider, thank you for the $2 dono. Next guest, the Golden State Killer. Yeah, they fail to hold him accountable and let him escape before the police arrive. Oh, Ben Shapiro. I should have known that. But you know what? Genuinely in this space sometimes I encounter terminology and then it turns out like Benzel Sharpener is like a Flash indie game where like a character got transformed into a pencil sharpener and now they must sharpen a certain amount of pencils every day, otherwise they die. And like in more and more challenges occur around the mechanics of how you actually sharpen the pencil. You can get upgrades. Like look, I'm just spitballing here, but that sounds kind of plausible, right? Like just a little bit. I don't know. Their next guest is Nick Fuentes. That also sounds very plausible. You should have known that because there's been multiple donuts. Look.
Broke cause bills, so do no and
Yo, Canabob Rex, thank you very much for the $5 dono, but I really, really appreciate that. Can you note that game idea down? I'm always looking for ideas. I'm not, okay. Let me, I can't note that down, but character transformed into a pencil sharpener, they get more and more demanding demands on pencils they sharpen every day. Need to upgrade yourself. Maybe it's an idle game. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, sorry, that was a tangent.
Are you trying to implement regime change in Iran? Like, Americans don't want another war with regime change. So we definitely did ask him some questions that I think people wanted to know.
Okay, what did he say? I mean, of course, he said
for starving children in Gaza, he said that they bring the food in and Hamas steals it and then sells it.
That's a lie. You know what I mean? Like that's so. Right. So here's the thing.
What's your opinion? So, Son, you got to remember, one side's going to say one thing, and the other side's going to say it's a lie.
I don't think you guys having a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu is the interesting point of contention here for me, at least. Like I mean, I think it's in and of itself, it's like worthy of scrutiny because it's like, you know, you guys, it's like interviewing Adolf Hitler. Like, would you interview Adolf Hitler during the Holocaust if you had the opportunity? Probably not, right? And we had less information on the Holocaust while it was happening than we do on this modern iteration of a genocide because we get to see it in real time because we have the internet.
Okay, so wait, what's your response to what he answered us? You didn't even talk about that.
It's a lie. No human rights organization that works on the ground from the UN to the World Food Program has ever agreed to the Israeli position that this is all Hamas stealing aid or whatever. As a matter of fact, they've openly said that is not the case at all. It's just a way for Israel to continue.
Schneider was a hot chick. Then he was a stapler. But now, he's about to be a pencil sharpener. He's about to find out just how hard that can be.
I feel like I need to read that in like a more dramatic way. Rob Schneider was a hot chick. Then he was a stapler. But now he's about to be a pencil sharpener. And he's about to find out just how hard that can be. Rob Schneider is Pencil Sharpener. Coming this fall. 2025.
Justifying its starvation policies against the entire civilian population of Gaza so that they can...
damn, that's also good. Rob Schneider in 3-hole punch.
Claim that like, oh, Hamas is just like stealing this aid. They've never actually given a...
I know you didn't mean anything by the low IQ thing. I think a lot of people just don't really think about it in a eugenics way. But I always, whenever someone brings up IQ, my initial gut response is that was a test designed by a French teacher to assess the reading capabilities of his 4th grade students. And then racists co-opted it for general intelligence assessment. And like, it's hard for me to forget that. It's just the mental association I make. So I want to make sure people kind of know it's bullshit.
Single piece of evidence for this. It is just a claim that people have to supposedly take at face value because Israel said it. It's a lie.
What's the other side's proof? Just so we can play both sides here.
Well,
there are literally videos of like Israeli settlers blocking trucks of food aid from getting into Gaza. There are literally Israeli government officials on the record talking about how there are blockades on aid getting into Gaza. Like, what are you talking about?
As long as we're not talking about the IQ, the bootleg N64 Chinese console.
Oh man, Saka Tanuki, you're threatening to get me into so many different tangents right now. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs though. I remember. Just as an FYI, folks, if we're gonna talk about different vaporware games, not vaporware, but like strange things when it comes to video game consoles. Anyone remember this? The goddamn Zeebo and its boomerang controller? Because I sure as hell do. Look at this thing. It's awful. It's genuinely terrible in every way. The form factor is so bad. And now one of these can be yours for the reasonable price. The reasonable price of $1,500. Huzzah! Huzzah! You too can have a Brazilian like knockoff console. Let's go.
The other side is not even like the side of the Palestinians. I'm not even offering the side of the Palestinians. The Palestinians obviously think that that's bullshit as well. But the other side is an unbiased third party. The World Food Program is not, on board with Hamas. The World Food Program of the UN is not Hamas or anti-Semitic or anti-Israel beyond, the obvious reasons why you would be anti-Israel because they're doing these things and then lying about it.
So what's your overall opinion of us? Like Kyle just stated that we're having a world leader on. That's what we're more focused on.
I think it was dumb. I'll be honest, because like it's not.
But you would do the same thing, Hassan, if you had the opportunity. 100%.
No, I mean, there's a difference though. I'm well equipped to have a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu because when he says something like that, I can turn around and be like, well, the World Food Program has said that there is no evidence to suggest that Hamas is stealing aid. Whereas you don't have that follow up in that situation, and Benjamin Netanyahu knows that, and his team knows that, which is precisely why he went on the Nelk Boys podcast and he didn't go on my stream or something. And I don't even know if I would honestly have a conversation with him if given the opportunity.
In my opinion, I think that, like, for example, I think Trump is really good on the podcast. Like, obviously, that's why he did his whole podcast. I mean, he's clearly a good speaker. Like, you can't deny that. But I think, in my opinion, just because we platform someone, it doesn't necessarily.
I'm sorry. You think Donald Trump is a good speaker? Are you kidding me? He's such a good speaker. Here's one of his lines. So we had a big day in the stock market. Things are coming back, and they're coming back very rapidly, a lot sooner than people thought. But then the virus came in, and the world is a different place. But we're now getting back, and one of the reasons the market's doing so, it's almost at the point that it was prior to the plague, almost. Like, this is not a good speaker. A good speaker doesn't sound like this. What he is charismatic. China has 1.4 billion people. We have 325, probably 325 million approximately. Nobody can give the exact amount. We're trying to get an exact amount, but you have, over the years, many illegals who've come into the country, so it depends on how you want to count it. Like, that's not a way that someone formulates a sentence.
Very necessarily equate to, like, a positive outcome for the guest. And I think this is like a perfect example of that. Like, this could even be a negative thing.
No, I think in the grand scheme of things, like it's not moving the needle because Benjamin Netanyahu gets positive coverage from every outlet. He gets positive coverage from every outlet. So you guys are marginal in that regard. It's not like all that significant. But if you're looking for like if you're
Well,
looking
that's what
for,
I'm trying to say though.
what do
It's
you
like
mean?
if Fox News has him on and they're more supportive of him, then we have him on. CNN
Yeah,
has
no,
him
that's
on.
why I'm saying it's marginal.
How do we-
Like
how do we divide that?
you having him on is marginal, as opposed to like him going on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, all of those other outlets. And
The issue that I have is that, like, the people who watch those outlets don't watch Nelk Boys. The people who watch Nelk Boys are, like, children and dumb fucks. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, children and dumb fucks need content, right? But also, if those children and dumb fucks are that exposed to a guy who's just spewing lies about a genocide, and then they come to believe the lies, that's actually really fucking bad.
And then not just Benjamin Netanyahu, but like Israeli envoys going on CNN every night and saying, well, we blew up this, mosque, or we blew up this church because Hamas was in it or whatever. That is ultimately playing a role in crafting this elaborate narrative that Israel is always in the right, Israel has a right to defend itself, and that they have to do these things. They have to contextualize this violence. Like all of that plays a much larger role. You guys just basically are presenting a similar perspective that you get from CNN or Fox News, but now to a younger audience that's going to look at, I guess, maybe Benjamin Netanyahu and be like, he's a chill guy that you can hang with, but I don't even know if he's capable of doing that.
Wait, Hassan, here's kind of where I disagree with you. Is if you watch CNN or you watch Fox News, you kind of know what narrative you're looking for. And with us playing that neutral ground, you don't.
With us playing that neutral ground, you never know what you're gonna get. We're like a box of chocolates. Have you seen the movie Forrest Gump, Hassan? We're like that. We're like Forrest Gumps. Two Forrest Gumps doing a podcast together. And, sure, we don't have any political ideology, but, we have had Donald Trump on several times. No political ideology whatsoever, but we have platformed the current Republican president of the United States multiple times on our show. No ideology here, though, Hassan. Just gumping.
Know what you're going to get, right? So that's the differentiator. And like we told, I don't know if Kyle mentioned this earlier, but we're having a pro-Palestinian on as our very, very soon here. So
I don't know who you guys are having on, but I mean, it depends on.
What I'm trying to say is like, how are we, if we're a neutral podcast, how are we anything like either side? If you know what you're going to get when you tune in.
Again, they don't understand the issue. They're just defending what they did. Like that's.
Well, no one is fully neutral in that regard, right? Because like that's why I asked, like, if Osama bin Laden wasn't dead, would you interview him?
Honestly, I don't know. That's a tough question.
Like, why you said there's no one you wouldn't interview, but you're saying, it's too soon after 9/11 to interview Osama bin Laden 24 years after it happened. It's too soon to interview bin Laden, but you're fine interviewing the guy who's doing an active genocide right now. God damn it.
If Osama bin Laden wasn't dead? Yeah, of course. And the same but it would be contentious in the same vein as the Benjamin Netanyahu interview. Like there are people that I interview that the American audiences would consider.
If you got bin Laden, you'd never be able to grill him because you would have had to go to Afghanistan. You would have missioned to a cave and.
Well, if he was alive, the logistics of interviewing him would have been really hard. So we never would have done that because that's difficult. Like, okay.
We're setting up a hypothetical scenario where bin Laden is able to like connect.
Oh man, K-Fox, I do buy the dumb act. I just think that you can both be dumb and have an ideological position. I don't buy their presumed neutrality that they keep trying to like put forward. I don't buy that for a goddamn second. But I do buy that they are morons.
Via Discord, you know what I mean? Like obviously, I'm not going to interview bin Laden with a gun trained on my head. That would not be a situation. Like that would not be the case. He's dead anyway. In the hypothetical,
well, I mean,
would you be able to?
We interviewed him in the White House. 20 people standing around us in suits that we didn't know who they were. So it's almost.
I think in that
the same situation,
a little different.
Yeah, I mean,
respectfully.
Okay, so my point is, would you be neutral with bin Laden in the same way that you're like a neutral podcast?
I think we would. Yeah, we would do our best to ask him tough questions.
Okay. All right.
I think
what about ISIS?
Understanding too, right? Well,
what about Adolf Hitler?
I think we'd always kind of play the neutral role.
You would play a neutral role interviewing Adolf Hitler. I don't think that's the case. I think you're just saying that right now because you want to.
We're just not the best at grilling guests and pushing back on them, to be honest.
we're just not equipped to do this. Then don't do it.
Like I said, we're not claiming to be good journalists. Like we can ask a question, but when it comes to like a follow-up question, I'll be honest, we're not the most, like, I've never claimed to be super educated on this.
Hassan, you haven't even watched the podcast.
I haven't. I have.
You haven't even launched a podcast, bro. You haven't even done a podcast. You don't understand the kind of pressure we're under. You don't understand the kind of pressure we're under to deliver on the podcast front. Okay, like it's a really high stakes, high reward situation. And when the modern Hitler of our times comes to your doorstep and says, "Hey, you want to do an interview?" You say yes, and then you don't do any preparation. Okay, you just go in, act natural, and you're completely unbiased. And because you don't know anything, you can't ask follow-up questions. Gets you off the hook every time. All right, we're 100% of the time every time. Do they have any idea what they've done? No, I don't think so. Or at the very least, if they have an inkling of what they've done, they are attempting to play the "we're too dumb to have actually understood it." Haha. Please forgive us because we're idiots.
I haven't had time. I don't know what kind of questions you guys ask, but I assume.
Wait, listen. The first few minutes is us sitting there like, "Yo, we are not qualified to do this. This is insane." We acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you're right. We're not the best journalists. We're not the most fit to do this.
Then don't
but
do
the fact
it.
that we had an opportunity to interview a world leader, two guys like us, we're gonna jump on that just as I know you would. So
yeah, but the difference is the difference is like if there was a situation where I felt like I was ill-equipped for the task, I would just not do it. You know what I mean?
Like I have disagreements with Hassan, but like, dude at the very least has like a decent understanding of how the world works and like what you should do when you encounter a limitation like that. You either go, "Oh, I have this limitation. Let me grow beyond that. Let me pursue a betterment of myself so I can actually, be up to the task next time this opportunity rolls around." And then you say, no, these guys don't have that. These guys have given up on bettering themselves.
I didn't say we're ill-equipped, but I said there's people probably more fit.
I mean, this is a unique opportunity. You have an unprecedented opportunity.
The Full Send podcast is, I'll be honest. No, let's be honest. The Full Send podcast.
Also, okay, real quick. I've launched multiple podcasts. I produced multiple podcasts. I understand they're a lot of work. They're not so much work that like these guys couldn't have like gone and read a book about the subject or something. Like these guys had I guarantee you these guys could have demonstrated some more intellectual curiosity. They just don't care. It is willful ignorance. True. A disgusting level of willful ignorance. Absolutely, Winnie Rose.
This is never going to be the best line of questioning. Like, I'll be honest. That's the honest truth. Let's be real here. That's exactly, and that's why they choose us, and that's why the show is what it is, because we're kind of dumb and we're not the best. We're not. Let me
ask you guys this: is there a person?
The podcast is what it is.
Is there a person that you guys wouldn't interview? Because like we're also like now stuck on whether you guys should be interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu or not. I think if someone is
in today's age, like right now, I think that's a fair question to ask. Right now,
I think talking about right now. You guys speak to people that are alive because
you can't speak to time. Yeah, we're saying right now because that's pretty much where we're at. So if we could interview anyone right now, like who would we say no to? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
I can't think of someone.
Okay, so like even out of like because the reason why I have to go back to historical figures that have conducted genocides is because like Benjamin Netanyahu is doing one right now. And he's not even the singular force of evil here.
You're talking about hypotheticals, bro. That's where you leave.
You're talking about hypotheticals. I can't understand those. All right, that's too many syllables. You need to break it down a little bit.
Because you're talking about
I mean, the reason why is trying. Well, I'm using this as an analogy.
Like Tucker Carlson had Putin on. Other journalists have.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson had Vladimir Putin on, and when Tucker Carlson had Vladimir Putin on, he did that in a capacity to do propaganda for Vladimir Putin. For sure, he didn't push back at all. He was there. He was in Russia, and he did it.
Vladimir Putin and his stupidly fitting pants. Look at these. Look at these. Your pants are almost at your knees. It's disgusting.
Specifically,
really
so we
can't.
could do.
You really can't in that situation.
I know, but that's precisely why, like, sometimes it's better not to take that opportunity. You know what I mean? That's my position.
Like for the
and even then, Tucker Carlson, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tucker Carlson is still more equipped to at least have like follow-up questions. Like, think about the Ted Cruz interview that he had. Like, he obviously is.
Yeah, of course. Tucker's the man, in my opinion. But what
very neutral boys.
I watched that Putin interview. Like, I thought Putin was like dodging questions, and he like didn't answer anything. So that's what goes back to my point of like platforming someone. And I think just because we have someone on, it doesn't always mean a positive for the guest. And I think, I mean, you go read this comment section. Like, I don't think this is necessarily a positive thing for Netanyahu.
Yeah, but it's not a positive thing for you guys either, because
yeah, it's not a positive thing for these guys. They look really bad. Like, I know nothing about these guys. This is the first time I'm hearing about them, and I find them abhorrent. I find them disgusting. You know, I think any sane individual watching that interview would feel the same. If they know anything about anything that's happening right now in Gaza, they are going to feel intense and abiding disgust.
most of your audience is probably already anti-Israel and anti-Netanyahu, so now they're yelling at you guys.
That's
so
fine,
now
because I can sleep at night knowing like our intention with this, and you know, we're not pro-Israel. I'm not pro-Israel. I don't know enough about this conflict, to be honest. I only see what I read online, and I hear his point of view, then I hear your point of view. I really have no idea what's going on. I'd love to learn more, but
yeah, but I think you got to do that before you do an interview. Look, my point is this:
okay, wait,
what you guys did, what you guys did is, from my estimation, okay, what you guys did is no different than like what CNN does. Okay, you just basically presented someone who is a war criminal, someone who is doing a genocide, in a somewhat neutral light.
What's your go-to at McDonald's?
No, I'll tell you, Burger King. We did the double,
Whopper.
The
I haven't ripped Burger King in a long time.
Burger King kind of sucks.
Yeah.
No,
the BK Lounge can hit.
I disagree completely.
You like Burger King over McDonald's?
That's your worst take, I think.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy take.
No, that was fine. I mean, I like Burger King. The answer is yes.
And you can't be
There is going down and giving head on an interview guest, and then there is just full on presenting your asshole. And like genuinely, that's we're just at a next level of submission. Like I've been to kink events with people who could only dream of being this submissive. Like I'm genuinely shocked. Are we truly cooked? No, we are not truly cooked, but there are some people in this country who just truly don't give a shit. Like, man, just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not asking that much. If you know that you're about to interview Benjamin Netanyahu, you fucking open up his Wikipedia page and like go down to the controversy section. Like, I don't know. Like, you knew this was happening in advance. This wasn't like a spur of the moment type thing. And even if it was, you still have time to like look at your phone and be like, okay, these are some of the things that people are mad at him about. Let's actually ask him questions and then listen to his answers and then ask follow-up questions. Yeah, it really is like a, so Hitler, do you like schnitzel or do you like bratwurst more? What makes your heart glad and happy? Hey, I heard you're a pretty great painter, Hitler. What are you more into who's your favorite painter? They said during the interview they were seeing comments on X, so I think that's their research. Yeah, honestly, these are probably also guys who have like AI write their interview questions. I think I'm just about done with this. Like I don't know. I think I'm just done. I think I'm just done right there. Like I think that is basically that's basically where we're at. These guys don't have the capacity to even acknowledge that what they did might have a negative impact on the world. Like, these guys are willfully ignorant and blind to what is happening. They don't give a shit about it. Like, to them, it's just a numbers game. Like, it's a no-brainer. You got to interview Netanyahu. Like, I mean, people know who he is, man. You have him on. It's just like having on like any kind of conservative like sportsman. No different, man. And it's just like they don't understand. They have political biases, obviously, and they've demonstrated them repeatedly, but it's I don't know how to I don't know how to like continue this. Like, it's very clear we're out of like any kind of reasonable discourse on this. also, their podcast has over 2 million subscribers. So that's awesome.
I mean, it's like,
I'm just one last thing. Let's take a look here. Unsubscribed. I miss when YouTube used to show dislikes. This was pitched to Netanyahu like, don't worry, these guys are idiots. You can use their platform to push whatever propaganda you want, and they won't push back on anything. True. Hey, it's the guy who's been running American foreign policy for 30 years. You guys didn't question him once. This is crazy. We are not qualified for this. We should not be doing this. Maybe listen to yourself next time. God damn. Use these guys. Giving a war criminal a chill podcast is not a flex. It's complicity. Israel are so desperate for positive PR, they sent their prime minister to podcast with a bunch of pranksters, asking him if he prefers Burger King or McDonald's while people are starving. This is insane. You know, I'm really glad there are like some sane people in the world. I never thought I would see the day that YouTube comments restored some of my faith in humanity, but here we are in completely topsy-turvy land. Up is down, down is up. It's genuinely I'm beyond.
Oh no, Mehdi Hassan, what a fucking nightmare, Netanyahu.
Oh god. I gotta be done. I gotta be fucking done tonight, because I think the Nelk boys broke my brain. And honestly, you can't sorry, one last thing. You can't interview Benjamin Netanyahu and like call yourself Nelk boys. You can't do that. You've become Nelk men, all right? You've become Nelk men. You have to take responsibility for your actions now.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff.